We are in the month of October, ladies and gentlemen, which means we are not that far away from one of my favourite shows of the year. Survivor Series always has been a bit close to my heart since growing up as a young child, and it's still one of my favourite shows to this day, especially with the addition of War Games. That's right, War Games, of course, being brought back to WWE, initially with NXT, has now been a part of the Survivor Series show for the last couple of years. Has taken away the traditional Survivor Series matches, which I still do enjoy and would like to see back. However, today I'm going to focus solely on War Games matches, because who is going to take part in War Games in 2024? I'm going to start with the Smackdown side, and then I'm going to move over to the Raw side. However, the second match is a bit more tricky for me than the first match, because, well, looking on the Smackdown side, I know what everybody wants to see. You all want to see the original Bloodline versus the new Bloodline. It's the dream match that's been put out since this all began after WrestleMania earlier this year. But now we're in October, and I've got to say, Roman Reigns looks a little bit alone when it comes to going against the rest of the Bloodline. And if you look at the people that he would be looking to align himself with, we're not sure when Jimmy Uso is going to return to WWE. Jey Uso is on Monday Night Raw and has now won a singles championship, the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn is actually challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. It feels that a lot of the people that Roman would depend on are actually not available to come and aid him at this time, and he's actually found himself in an unusual alliance going into WWE Bad Blood. Of course, him and Cody Rhodes are going against Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, and of course Cody has been fighting the Bloodline for a couple of years, so could we get an alternative plan instead? Because, well, Roman could look to other people who have been battling against the Bloodline for a couple of years, or maybe even more. Yes, I'm going to suggest that the new Bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga will be going against Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. And I think this storyline is pretty much simple. Can they coexist? How can they trust one another? How can Kevin Owens bring himself to align himself to be in the same team as Roman Reigns when he's been battling him for about 4 years? Same with Randy Orton, who lost 18 months of his career due to the original Bloodline. But all of this could be done in the trust of Cody Rhodes. Explanations have already been asked of Cody from Randy Orton of why he's teaming with Roman Reigns at Bad Blood, and simply Cody wants to be someone who is seen more as a fool than a coward. That's the main reasoning for doing so, and also he's taking Roman Reigns at his word. When Roman said that he would actually, coexist with Cody in this match, he trusts him because everything that Roman said on the road to WrestleMania, he kept his word to. So that's what sets this match up quite beautifully. And for me, in the meantime, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how and when we can get Roman aligned with the likes of a Randy Orton, with a Kevin Owens into this match. And I think the importance of having this lineup this year instead of Bloodline versus Bloodline is because the other people involved alongside Roman Reigns haven't been able to beat the Bloodline. KO has been failing for 4 years nearly. Randy Orton was out for 18 months thanks to the Bloodline, would be back for a full calendar year at this point and still would not have his revenge over the Bloodline. If you can have them win inside of War Games, being able to coexist for one night, you can then close the chapter for Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and potentially Cody Rhodes as well, although I don't see Cody fully getting out of this, but certainly he could get out of it in the short term, because Randy Orton has said also this is not a problem unless Cody makes it a problem. So if there are some twists and turns that lead into this War Games match of feeling they cannot trust Roman Reigns, this could be what is enough to turn Randy Orton heel on Cody Rhodes after this, to set up a championship match for them going to either Saturday night's main event, perhaps even the Royal Rumble. And Kevin Owens, of course, has been the one that we all think will turn heel. Maybe after all he doesn't. Maybe just can finally close the chapter, close the book and move on to something else, because he has not made such threat yet. However, he could simply be someone that's aligned with Randy Orton and does the same, and he gives Cody a couple of challenges on the road until he's set up for his WrestleMania opponent. So for me, that's my prediction of what I think will be for the Smackdown side. For the Raw side, it's a bit trickier, because I say the Raw side, I think that we're going to have two team leaders, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And if you look with storylines right now, it would make more sense for Liv Morgan to have her Judgment Day stablemates in War Games alongside her, rather than having a random thrown together team. That's what I would say I think is actually even a better way to go at this one, because Rhea Ripley has Damian Priest by her side, the Terror Twins. They go into battle together. Also, they've kind of been slightly aligned with Jey Uso in places, who's now won the Intercontinental Championship. And if he's not going to be in the SmackDown side of War Games, perhaps it makes sense for him to be on the Raw side of War Games. And let's not forget, Sami Zayn, him and Jey Uso were going to go for the Tag Team Championships, who are currently held by the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and JD McDonough. So you could then have added Sami Zayn into the mix as well. And with those two having vast experience inside of War Games, working together, teaming together, and winning together, that would put a hell of an advantage for Rhea Ripley's team going into War Games. Now, there was a final member that could have been perfect for that slot, Ilya Dragunov. It looked like they were starting something him with the Judgment Day as well, and he was actually speaking highly of Rhea and Damian as well, but unfortunately he's picked up an injury. He's going to be out. I think he's torn his ACL 6 to 9 months, unfortunately, so Ilya will not be in that place. So they would have to find a final person to take that position, and for me, right now, I'd go with Bron Breakker. I think that there's a respect factor after losing the IC title to Jey Uso. I think there is a transition to turning Bron Breakker into a face, kind of a badass baby face, not one of these that's just kind of like, I'm good and all of a sudden I'm going to be nice. I think he's still going to be someone who's destructive. It's just, it could make sense to do that. Seth Rollins could be another name you could throw out there as well, just because of the fact it's Seth Rollins and he's got experience of being in big matches. But for me, I would pick Bron Breakker. It's a way of building that new star as well. But what about the women's division, everybody? What would you do instead? Well, personally, I'd have the women's division actually focused on the rest of the card. But if you're not going to do that and you are going to have them inside War Games, and Rhea and Liv are going to have females alongside them instead of actually having actual stablemates, then I personally think this is the teams they should go with, and actually include SmackDown as well. So for starters, you can look and see Liv Morgan's side. Now, something I've predicted ahead of Bad Blood, thanks to Pierre, who's one of our subscribers, suggests the idea of Raquel Rodriguez making a return to be alongside Liv Morgan. Now, Raquel, of course, would be certainly an equalizer in the feud with Rhea Ripley, and for me, I think it'd make a lot of sense. You can have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. From the SmackDown side, the current champion at the time of recording, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, of course, who's alongside her, the Women's Money in the Bank holder, and then there is one final slot, which I'm going to give to Io Sky, mainly because she's got a lot of experience inside War Games, and even though she's kind of switched and been a bit more of a face recently, I do think that with her and Kairi about to go for the Women's Tag Team Championships, they will be seen more as the heels in that feud as we go to the other side, and I think you probably can already connect the dots. For me, on the other side with Rhea Ripley, I've gone with Bayley, Naomi, and I've gone for the Women's Tag Team Champions Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. A super team there, if you will. SmackDown heavy also again here, but at the same time, I think would actually make most sense with the combatants involved, especially as Bianca and Jade can be on both Raw and SmackDown. I think that would be an awesome War Games match if that was to go ahead. But if I had to predict right now, as I said, I actually think it makes more sense for the Judgment Day having actual stables involved in there at the moment. But I do realise as well, it is good to have one War Games match for the men, one for the women. So I've made predictions in case of both. But what do you reckon in the comments below? Let me know who is going to be in War Games in the year 2024. It's not as easy as it looks, I guess, but certainly we'd like to know your input. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share with a friend, and subscribe as well. Keep tuned into the channel for more videos as and when they are released. Of course, there'll be more with Survivor Series and War Games as we get closer to the show. We are on the week of WWE Bad Blood, so make sure to check out those predictions on the channel right now. Check this video, it's on the side of the screen right here. Thanks for watching, take care, have a great day. I'll see you next time.